Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to read again another book which is Devlok, written by Devdutt Patnayak. So let's start with part 1, Dhyan and Darshan. We'll talk about the Vedas and the Purans, of course, stories from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, but before that, let's talk about the poem that I begin all my projects with. Okay, so these lines are from the writer, not by me. So here words are by the writer Devdutt Patnayak ji, and of course voice is mine. So let's continue. When I start writing book 20 years ago, all my books would open with the lines, "Within infinite myths lies the eternal truth." Who says it all? Varun has but 1,000 eyes. Indra has 100, and I only 2. I used to say the eternal truth, where the is the definitive article. Now I say an eternal truth. The concept that Varun has 1,000 eyes is found in the Vedas, and the idea that Indra has 100 eyes comes from the Purans. Earlier, I would say and I. Gradually, I began to write you and I. As my knowledge increased, my point of view or darshan, which is different for different people, changed. And as we meditate, means dhyan, on things, our knowledge increases. In 20 years, as my darshan and dhyan changed significantly, so did the poem. This is a good point to start the new season with, dhyan and darshan. What is darshan? Ordinarily, people would say darshan is to see. When we go to temple, we take darshan of God. In films, you will hear dialogues like Bhagwan darshan do, means Lord, let me see you. So darshan is given and taken both to do with seeing. In Sanskrit, darshan means philosophy or worldview. Dhyan means to pay attention, concentrate, focus. There is a reason why I used the words dhyan and darshan separately. In India's history, the Vedas came 4,000 years ago and the Purans 2,000 years ago. The Vedas contain poetry associated with yajna, while in the Purans, stories became very important. The idea of dhyan lies somewhere in between these two. In yajna, parampara or tradition, people followed the rituals, did karmakand, but they began to ask what these meant. This is, people started thinking about it. They started concentrating. This is known as dhyan. But it was Buddha who made dhyan really important. He belonged to the Sharman parampara, people who were vairagis, philosophers. They were not worldly and lived in the forest, caves or vihars. Buddha said that performing the rituals and penance in the form of fasting, physical hardship alone would not bring knowledge. They would have to mull over, meditate about it. They gave a lot of importance to dhyan. Sit in one place, close your eyes, stay still and do dhyan. Dhyan has several meanings. One is to contemplate or to think. Another is to not think but to meditate, wherein you stay still and automatically you'll get Kaivalya Gyan or wisdom. The more you think, the farther you go from wisdom. There are two schools of dhyan, mindful and mindless. Closing the eyes is associated with dhyan. Its opposite is darshan, opening the eyes. Post the Sharman tradition in the Puranic period, when we start telling stories, when temples are established, the word darshan becomes popular. The Vedas give greater importance to Shruti, to hear, while the Purans emphasize seeing. If you observe the idols in temples, they have large eyes. Lord Jagannath has big, round eyes. Srinathji has boat like eyes. In poetry, too, Varun has 1,000 eyes, Indra 100, and so on. We see God, God sees us. God is presenting Himself to us. Another theory is that Dhyan was perhaps associated with sannyasis who were removed from the world and its relationships, whereas darshan was about relationships, about seeing the person opposite you, your brother, sister, wife. Where the Ramayana and the Mahabharata family stories emerge of the parents, brothers, wives of the protagonists, society and relationships are important here. So, this is it for today. But I'll continue again in the next part in my next video. So, till then, keep listening beautiful stories and keep smiling.